What is up, everybody? I am Steven. I go by the voice of DeFi. Of course, in here with me in the Discord server is Smart Rick. You might know him as Zach. And it is time for our Friday AMA. We've had a lot of fun on Twitter Spaces earlier this week. Yesterday, we had a really good community update about what's going on in the Traderverse community. But on Fridays is when we bring you the firest of fire, I'm saying fire a lot, AMAs, and we've got one today. That's right. Yeah, give me some.
Give me some trap horse.
Yeah. Well, today we've got a real good one. We've got Pixels here, and Pixels. If you're like, I don't really know what that project is, well, you're going to know about it today because it's really interesting. It's an MMO. Okay, so if you've played other MMOs, they're neat. They're pretty addictive. You can play a lot of them. But this one's different because it's got a little twist to it that has a lot to do with NFTs and maybe NFTs that you already own. So get ready to learn a little bit about that. And by the time I think we're through with this, you'll be like, I want to know more. And you're going to spend a lot of time over on their website and on their Discord server as well. So yeah, this is we're pretty excited to be able to bring these guys in here. And how are you guys doing?
Doing good. Been crazy the last couple of weeks. We're moving super fast, so obviously there's a ton of work on our plate, but could be more excited to share this finally.
It's like good kind of stress.
Yeah. I mean, whenever you're getting, on your roadmap, you're getting closer and closer to launch. Is it kind of stress inducing, or is it just kind of exhilarating that you're kind of seeing your vision come to life?
Oh, it's so exhilarating. We've been working on this for a bit now, and we've been pretty stealthy and haven't really told people much about what we're doing. And now we're finally announcing it and getting ready to get out there. So it'll be exciting to see people really like what we're doing. They see our vision, they're in line with it. Super excited to get it out there.
Awesome. And then Smart Rick, Zach, you guys are, first of all, if you've been listening for some time, then you know that Smart Rick's over in New York in a nice house and launch house, meeting a lot of great people. And Smart Rick, you want to kind of get into maybe how we even have Pixels on here today about what you guys are doing?
I mean, Luke and Alex are both my roommates right now. We're roomies. We all live under one roof. It's Big Brother. It's Big Brother meets FinTech Web3 season 1. It's really fun. So I just thought it just made sense to invite them on, come talk with us,
Yeah. So you're getting into what I wanted to get into is you guys are all living under one roof now, and at least up through almost Christmas time. And these guys are able to share a lot of ideas, say, this is what I'm working on, kind of be, encouraged, but also maybe if there's other expertise in the house, they're able to learn from other people in there that maybe have some good experience in their space. So this is kind of part of that is by Smart Rick bringing in some of this talent onto here so we can kind of learn a bit from them. But also I think just that whole house is probably just a whole, just a den of education and zero fun, right?
Oh, no fun is had here at all, and it's really competitive.
Well, you're in a multi-million-dollar house, so it's as soon as you step foot in there, the fun had to begin. So I know you guys are out there having a lot of fun, but probably also, all jokes aside, learning quite a bit too. So. I'll start with you, Luke, and I want to speak with both of you. So after you answer, I'd love to have. Is it Alex? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just making sure. Well, see, Luke's got his name in his handle. So I've
Pixel
I've
Alex
now got
was
it now.
taken on Twitter, so it's
Oh,
my last name.
That completely makes sense. Well, Luke, I'll let you start. I want to learn about Pixels here in a bit, but first I want to know kind of your origin story. I want to know a little bit more about you. What got you interested in blockchain and crypto and NFTs and ultimately led you to, Pixels, but kind of where'd you start with all this?
Yeah, definitely. So in university, I studied computer science and economics together. I've been fascinated by economics for a really long time. And it's really funny. In my economics classes, we talked about Bitcoin a lot. I had to focus on money and banking, and all my economics professors hated it. And they kind of had me going along that line too. And I'm not honestly still super sold on the idea of Bitcoin. But this new tech coming out with Ethereum and like all the applications here has been super interesting to me. I've been following it along for a really long time. And now I finally feel like the tech is in a place where it's ready to build. So I've been a software engineer for like 3 years. I went full time into startups a year and a half ago. We were doing a SaaS company before. Our product before was a like very much Web2 company. We were selling enterprise events to companies like Twitter, Facebook, Google. But we just like weren't clicking in that space. I've been really, really interested in the development of Ethereum and where this tech is coming. And we had to pivot. So through this pivot, I was looking for blockchain solutions and like seeing if we could do anything. And finally, I got red pilled. I found the perfect use case for the tech that we had. And that's kind of how we ended up here.
That's awesome. Okay, so you had some experience just like you said, as a software developer, and you were kind of searching out blockchain work or blockchain solutions, if you will. And ultimately, that's kind of how it sounds like you kind of made your way through like that. How about you, Alex? Do you have a similar story?
Different path than Luke. Luke approached me about, so backstory of what I was doing. I was, after college, I was set to get out to LA, and I was taking the industrial engineer route, was with a tanking company that delivers mail. I'll leave their name out. And after working with them for a couple of years, Luke approached me about this new idea for a virtual event platform. And we were so intrigued about like entrepreneurship for a long time. We actually used to take calls back in 2019 every Monday, meeting about like what we could pursue. So when Luke finally came to me with this idea, it only took me about a month to jump ship, and we've been running together since October 2019, basically, or 2020.
So you've been doing this for some time together, and I think that's great because sometimes, a couple guys will have a great idea, but then as they start to execute a little bit, they think, maybe this isn't as fun as we thought it might be in our heads. But you guys have been doing it for some time now and working together. Have you found that your professional relationship has grown, and now you're kind of seeing your vision start to slowly come to be? Is that satisfying? Is that exactly the way you saw it happening, or has it happened a little bit differently?
Yeah, I mean, entrepreneurship is like a little romanticized sometimes. It's not an easy path, obviously, and we've been through the grinder. We've been through some hard things, but now we're out of that. We're going through to the next step, which is super exciting. We've been through the hard part. Obviously, it's going to get harder moving forward, but we've gone through like the bumps and the storms, and we're a pretty solid team now.
Awesome. Well, these guys are here. They're not, as much as I wanted to know their origin story, of course, I want to know about their, project, and that's Pixels. Now, you can follow along here if you're listening and go to Pixels.Online. That's their website. And much of what I'm asking kind of has a genesis of, seeing some things on there and thinking, I want to know about it. So let's jump right into Pixel. Luke or Alex, either of you can answer this. What's the project about? Just tell us what the project is, and then what makes it unique.
Yeah, so Pixels.Online, we've been calling it a few different things. We've been calling it the NFT Metaverse. We've been calling it Stardew Valley through your PFPs. Basically what we're doing is we're doing two things here. We are building a play-to-earn game. We're going to be modeling it very much after Stardew Valley, and we're also leading the way in this concept called interoperability into the metaverse. And interoperability basically means that there's this core concept of the metaverse, and people talk about it all the time, how you should be able to move your assets around in what should be an open metaverse, how like your avatar in one area is your avatar and it should work in different places. But nobody's really been doing that, and we're definitely behind in that space. So one of our core strategies and the things that we're doing differently first is that we are leading the way in that interoperability. We have developed a system, and you can actually go to it right now, where you can actually natively bring your NFTs into our game. Literally all you have to do is click on connect to MetaMask. We only view your wallet, and you can start walking around as one of like 4 different NFT types: Lazy Lions, Pixel Beast, CryptoPunks, Funks. And you can actually use your avatar in our game. You don't have to buy any of our game assets to start playing or to like get going into it.
Man, I'm so glad you say this, because I had said this earlier whenever we spoke briefly on Twitter Spaces. But often when I'm trying to explain play-to-earn games, or even explain, NFTs inside games to people, I'll say to them, it'd be so neat because you could actually, race a car in one game and then use that same car in another game because it's an NFT and it's on the blockchain. And I always use that example. And I think sometimes it lands and sometimes it doesn't land. Sometimes people don't quite understand what I'm saying. But you've done more than just use it as an example. I mean, you're saying that I could buy, certain NFT projects, or, right now it's kind of the blue chip projects, and I could use them in your metaverse, in your world, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So this is a different philosophy that we have than a lot of other NFT projects you see out there. Like, we don't think the value in a metaverse product comes from the avatars or like the characters in the game. We think the real value comes from building a really interesting and good environment that has people wanting to come back for the environment. So that's the thing that we're focusing on, not PFPs, but actual environment, like building out a good game that people like to play rather than focusing on like other things like that.
If I'm the other projects, I'm liking that you're doing this because you're almost adding a utility. Like you said, maybe some of the other projects are mainly PFPs, and then they are, now you can actually have a utility with them. You can play them in a game that they didn't even have to, these other projects didn't even have to do anything. So I'm wanting to sign up with you if I'm another project because you give a utility that wasn't there before. Do you get that kind of feedback from your partners?
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of like what Web3 is all about, right? It's like everybody should win. We're all going to make it. And that's the opportunities that we're trying to create. We create value for these NFT lines because we give them like an experience that some of these holders have never seen before. Walking around with your NFT in a game that was previously just a profile picture, the first time you do it, it will blow your mind. It's really, really cool. But then also they're providing value to us too because they have the brand associated with their project, they have the community, and it's really just a win-win for everybody. Like, it's a real true we're all going to make it scenario.
Love that. That's exactly what I want, is just kind of collaboration and true DeFi, if you will, where it's where you can work with another group and it's real collaboration and it works really well together. So I'm looking through, I've kind of combed through your website and kind of looking at the different things that are available. And one of the things it says that I can do within your metaverse is get me some farmland. I can get some farmland. What is it exactly? I can see that maybe I can create my own pixel art on the land. Tell me, if I buy land, what am I going to be? A real estate agent for me?
Yeah.
What am I going to get out of this land?
We're a bit different from other teams because we already have a product. And what we want to be doing when we're actually dropping our own NFT collections is to provide instant utility, not a promise of future utility, to what we offer. And the product that we had before had a lot of really interesting features that we can add game mechanics onto pretty quickly. And some of those include things like a world builder and things like that. So what we're actually doing, what our plan is on December 14th, we're going to be releasing a playable teaser of what our game will actually look like. We're building out a few basic game mechanics, and December 14th, you'll be able to see exactly what our game is going to look like because you'll actually be able to go in and play it. But yeah, these farmland plots that we're offering will be the first mechanic of our game. And these will be an actual NFT collection that you can own, and it will give you access to owning a farm. The first bit of mechanics of our game are going to be highly modeled after Stardew Valley. So you can do things like cleaning up your farm, trimming weeds, just like making sure it's nice and clean, planting some crops, getting some resources out of it, and it will translate to points in our game and like give you resources to build. When you have these points, you'll be able to spend them on just different ways to upgrade your farm. Basically, you'll be able to add new furniture, you'll be able to add new walls, maybe expand your farm a bit, and basically like build out your dream home for your NFT.
So, okay, that's really cool, actually, that I can do that. And is it an investment, or is it something I can just own digitally and it'll be kind of cool because it'll be custom? Like, I guess what I'm saying is, as I'm farming and I'm trimming the weeds and I'm going to use the term all the way, am I growing crops that eventually I can sell to other people in the metaverse? How is this a play to earn from owning that piece of land?
Yeah, so our strategy early on is we're trying to rush out we can and get people instant utility in any way that we can. So our first mechanics won't be blockchain backed. It'll just be very centralized, just like a normal game. So you'll get points to build out, customize your space as soon as our NFT drops. But then after that, we're going to work on releasing our own token and making all this blockchain backed. So the progress that you make in the game will be able to be traded, and that's kind of going to be the core game mechanic that we have as far as play to earn goes. And that's coming soon. That won't be too long after, but we want to just make sure we nail that down and show people exactly what that looks like before we release it.
As you go from, kind of a centralized process to, it sounds like, and I think decentralization is a process. It takes time to get, full decentralization. But as, let's say I create my land and it's, it's centralized, it's saved on your server. And then as you move on and you grow and grow, is the plan to become completely decentralized, or will there be a centralization component to it always?
The plan is eventually on the roadmap become completely decentralized. As far as even going to open source our code and letting people run their own like nodes or game servers that we have. So that's eventually on the roadmap. But it's going to take some time to get there. And also we don't want to rush into it because we want to focus on building a really good game first. And that part requires centralization, making sure that we have a really fun and unique game that people want to come back to, that after we build that, the players can own. So that's kind of the idea.
So the game itself, what do you visualize it becoming? Is it almost like a fighting game, or is there missions and things like that to be able to accomplish? I mean, what's the main goal or objective in the game?
The long-term vision is building out a game that's very similar to RuneScape or an MMO with a lot of different content, a lot of different quests that you can do, skills to develop, and an economy that's bustling. An economy that you need to trade resources around for to make further progress in the game and be interacting with players a lot. But we're trying to also scope it down early on too and have a really concrete thing that we can offer. So the first iteration of this game will be very much like what you see Stardew Valley to be, except MMOified. So we're going to be focusing around our first skill, the first little vertical slice of our game, basically, the farming skill. But then after that, we'll be adding more skills like hunting or foraging, a combat system. But we want to make sure that we get this right and we're building actually good game mechanics. So that's kind of how we're going to be laying it out. Basically, build a good game mechanic, make sure people like it, make sure it's balanced. And then once we have all of that figured out, blockchain back it, and then move on to the next slice.
So, you're going to be, you said you'll have a playable, I don't know, a demo if it's the right word, but on December the what, 14th, 15th?
December 14th.
14th, okay. Will people that join in on that and basically just get in on your project early, will they have any kind of advantages later on because they're well established within the MMO world?
Absolutely. So the plan is the top 1,000 earners or point earners in demo will get access to our whitelist.
Okay. The top how many? Say that again.
1,000.
1,000. Okay. So the top 1,000 earners will get automatic access into the whitelist. Okay. That's a pretty good incentive to want to kind of get in early and that way the most about it, and therefore they should be, kind of rewarded through that. I think rewarded with a whitelist is a good way to do it. So looking over your roadmap, and I want to go over the different NFT projects you've integrated with, and we'll do that here in just a moment. But you've got a lot of features in one project, and I think you've already said this a little bit. Is you kind of want to release things kind of piecemeal. You don't want to, or do you want to say this is all that we're going to have right here in the beginning, or is it going to be kind of, we're going to offer this much and then this much and this much? And I think you kind of already said that. As you said, it'll be a little bit of a process. Do you have kind of an idea of the dates that you want to do that by, or is it just, it's done when it's done?
Yeah, we're going to release as soon as we can. Obviously, we want these features to be fleshed out and fully available, but we don't want to sit on product that we're offering. And also, we don't want to overpromise too. We are a team that has a lot of experience building and shipping products. I think that's actually something we're pretty unique in, especially in this space. We have a track record of shipping product really quickly. So I hope people know and assume that. Just the fact that we already have so much product built puts us at a huge advantage because we can really rapidly iterate and add new features as is. But yeah, the plan is to basically focus on building good product, focus on building real utility, and let the hype come from that.
That's awesome. So you've got 4, at least on your website, I can see 4 different NFT projects that you've already collaborated with, and already, those are going to be in your game. But also on your roadmap, it says NFT integrations every week. Is that really how often? I mean, in a year, are you planning on adding 52 different projects?
It's actually quite easy for us with our system. The only blocker in our pipeline is art. So hopefully what we're planning to do is flip the script. Right now, we're just taking in projects that we want to work with, and we do the art ourselves. But we have a really, really easy format for other projects who want to integrate with us to be able to submit their own art. And if they can do that for us, the integration can be done as quickly as like in 30 minutes on my end. We can really pump them out. We have good tech behind all of that.
That's really cool that you can just do it that easily. I mean, 30 minutes. Yeah, you're right. You could do, I mean, you're having NFT integrations every week. That could be just the beginning if you really wanted to. How many do you want to have? I mean, in your mind, is this a thing where there's hundreds of different NFT integrations in, or, is there a limit?
Yeah, no, in my mind, the more that we can get, if we can get full coverage, that's amazing. But yeah, to do that, we'll have to be more of a self-service model. And that's going to mean getting all of these ourselves first and flipping the scripts that people want to be coming with us. But we're already seeing that. We're getting a lot of inbound interest from NFT collections already. All we're going to have to do basically is communicate, hey, this is the format that we want your stuff in. And that's all you got to do, and we'll get you in. We want to work with as many people as we can because we want to provide utility to as many people as we can.
So right now, and I guess you don't have to spill the beans if you don't want, but I would guess that a lot of your NFT integrations that you have are just agreements. There's probably no, money that's changing hands. But the way I see it, you could almost be an advertising network for NFT projects where, my question, like when Moon, when Lambo, when Pixels, when can you get into this? Is that ever something that you see? Is it's more of a, you can get into our world, but there's an amount you have to pay to get in?
No, I actually am very against that. We want to be very open with NFT integrations and provide open metaverse principles and be like very hard on that. The thing that we want to monetize or think about as far as that goes is the value that we create for people. So the NFT collections, they've done the hard work of building out their own PFPs, building communities, and they should feel the reward of that. They help us by bringing people to our game, and we should be benefiting from the game that we make. That's kind of how the agreement and operations should go in my mind.
Okay.
We provide the environment, they provide the communities, and they provide the value that they've already created.
I love that thought because I've worked with several different projects, and those projects that network with other projects seem to do well because it's like the best advertising you can do is actually, do something good for another community already. And your, business model in and of itself, you are doing something good for other NFT communities, which are always very strong, close knit communities. And I think that will do well. So yeah, it sounds like my original question about NFT integrations every week and can you do that? It sounds like that's very doable and, something that you can not only keep up with every week, you could do even more than that. And then, so going down your roadmap, you've got the playable teaser in mid-December. We've already covered that. But then also in mid-January, you say you want your farm dropping. So you'll be able to do the teaser in December, and then sometime a couple of weeks into the new year, you plan on being able to farm. Is that still the date you're shooting for?
Yep, and we're on track for that as well. So our teaser won't be blockchain backed. Basically, we'll have like a playable demo of what owning a farm could look like.
Sure.
And you'll actually be able to do a bit of the farming mechanics that we're releasing for the teaser. But then once we drop the collection, that's your time to actually own the land and have forever ownership of what this farm will be. You'll be able to have people come and visit your house. It'll be live. It'll be working. You'll be able to build out and edit your map, really customize everything. And that utility will be baked in day one into that drop.
That's awesome. That's great. So you've got all these other projects that are having NFTs that you can play in the game, and that's great that you have other ones. Have you ever considered making your own? Have you ever considered having your own playable characters that you guys make?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So a core principle that we want to move on going forward is accessibility. We want to make sure that this game is always really easy for people to jump into and play. So we'll be doing our own avatars. We'll be doing them either on a chain that's really cheap, or we'll be doing them in like a lazy minting style, where if people want to come play the game, they can without having to mint or pay $300 in gas fees, and they can blockchain back it later. But the principle is, our profile pictures or avatars that we offer, we want to keep it cheap and accessible. So we'll do that with the core concept of making it so that people can join easily.
Okay, I think that's a really good idea, and I think that's a smart move by you, because if I initially look, at the project and I think, well, I don't own a lazy lion, I guess I can't play this, and yeah, I think that's really good to have the barrier to entry to be able to play to be very easy, and maybe somebody would play with it and they would meet other people within the world, and they think, oh, it's really cool that they have a lazy lion or whatever, a polygon punk, whatever, and they can actually do that in there. And maybe they would want to upgrade from the default avatar that you said. Speaking of, since I said polygon punks, what blockchain are you doing all this on?
Yeah, that's something we're still debating. Definitely need advice on that one, but we're probably going to be using a mixture of chains. So I think our core NFT integrations or lines, like our land drop, will be Ethereum 1, but probably some of our other assets will be Polygon. That's what I'm thinking right now, and we'll be doing a mix of that. And that's going to involve doing some tech that makes like a single click login into both chains, and just making sure that UX is really, really clean.
Okay, yeah, that you definitely want the user experience to be just completely seamless, and where they can just jump right in and not have any issues. But I think that sounds like a good plan to be able to have. So as I look into, you've got on your roadmap a full year's worth of plans already. You've got an alpha release of the game in June of 2022, all the way to December 2022, 12 months from now, a Pixels DAO. First of all, I hate to jump all the way to a year from now, but a Pixels DAO, what's the plan for that? What might I be voting on if I have some governance?
Yeah, so long-term plan is like we want to put the power of the game back into our players' hands. We think we need about a year to get to that point, maybe a bit longer. But that'll be meaning like leaving key decisions about how the game operates up to the players. Just kind of how RuneScape does its voting system, will probably offer a similar system to that. Does this mechanic need to be changed a bit? Do players not like this? Having players decide what content gets added, and basically give a voice to the people who are invested into the game. That's kind of the concept of play to earn, right? Because you're investing your time is a really valuable thing, and we really appreciate your time because your time helps this game ecosystem. And you should be rewarded, and you should have a say in how your time's invested.
That's great. I love the community aspect of a DAO, and I really think as you see some organizations even shifting from a traditional CEO kind of a board role, and then they move into a DAO. I think it's great that you guys already want to have some governance. But getting into that governance gets into something I really want to discuss a little bit, is your Pixels token. You want to release that on, as of right now, you've got April of 2022. How do you see the token being used within your game? Is it going to be used like in a marketplace? And then how will it constantly have, the buying pressure that it's needed to succeed, so it doesn't slowly just kind of dwindle down? Tell me a little bit about the Pixels token and what it might be used for.
Yeah, so we're going to follow the Axie Infinity model with our tokens, have a separate governance token, and have a separate in-game currency token. I think that was really smart on their end. But our in-game token will basically be used like GP is in RuneScape. It'll be the way to exchange goods on our platform. Obviously, you can go through other chains if these chains are NFTs, but we'll make it the easiest way to do it on our platform through this token. So with that, there's this concept in the space right now that it's kind of pyramid schemey in some of these play to earn games. There's this concept called the Fisher equation in economics that basically just says money supply and money demand work just like any other supply and demand. If you can make a currency in higher demand, rather than just changing things about supply, artificially, so some cryptocurrencies decrease supply through deflationary, they'll burn tokens, and that's how they increase their currency price. We want to look at it through the other way. We want to really bring in demand to our game by creating a game that's fun to play. That's the key concept to this. If you have a game that's fun to play and a game where people actually want to be spending the currency in the way that it's intended to, the currency will appreciate. That's just how currency works. But we don't really want to focus on the tokenomics behind it as much as we want to focus on the gameplay. So bringing in demand from a game that's fun, from a game that has good mechanics, and a token that's actually usable.
Gosh, you've got me pounding the chair here. Hell yeah, because that's exactly what I've always thought about crypto. Is you're right. So many tokens have tokenomics where they're like, 2% of every transaction is burned forever, which is great. That definitely helps on the supply side. But you've got to have a good product. You've got to have some reason for people. There's got to be that demand. And I feel like the demand portion of the equation is just completely forgotten about, for lack of a better term. It's not even addressed. So for you, you've said that several times in several of the questions that I've asked. You said that you want to address the demand side. I was saying, you could use this for advertising. And you said, no, we want to make a better product. And now I talk about the tokenomics, or the token itself. And you say, no, we want to make sure that it's got the best product we can, so that there's that sort of demand. So is that going to be, is there any sort of taxes with your token that go with this? Or if so, I bet you none of them's burned from what you just said.
We might use like some kind of burning, but we'll also probably be like somewhat inflationary in a way. It's funny, like money supply and how you handle that can be quite complicated at times. And I have a lot of connections back to my economics department. We're working highly, highly closely with some like top tier economists to like make sure we get this right. But the key concept is, at the end of the day, figuring out the demand side and balancing the economy that way. We probably won't tax our tokens or anything like that. Like our main idea behind this is we'll like basically vault some currency and distribute it to players as we see fit and make sure it's sustainable. This will be something that can be voted on by our players once we release our governance token as well, how this currency is distributed. And it'll kind of almost be like a central bank that's actually controlled by the players. How we introduce more currency and change the supply of the currency.
Amazing. So a lot of the decisions you've made on here where, you're using almost everything that you've said. You're like, this will be like Axie Infinity, or this will be like this game. This will be like this game. It sounds like it's coming from a lot of experience. Are you a gamer, or is Alex a gamer, or, is anybody else on your team gamers that kind of are using your, what you enjoyed the most to kind of add to this to make it, more personal?
Yeah, me and Alex grew up playing RuneScape, so that's why I keep bringing it up a lot. I definitely have a bit of a love and a soft spot for that game. Alex is still a big gamer, so he's super helpful. I've been so busy, I can't play games as much as I would like to. But yeah, we are drawing inspiration from what we've seen works really well, and the games that we really admire on that side.
Alex, are you playing often still, or are you finding less and less time?
Right now, there's not much time to do it, but I'm definitely a bit of a gamer degenerate. So, looking at like RuneScape, Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley, so many of these games I still play on a regular basis, and doing something like this is definitely like kind of been a long thing coming. So, like Luke said, we probably started playing this game 2 decades ago, and it's still influencing what we're working on today.
That's crazy that what you've done 20 years ago is now influencing what you're doing today. But maybe that's how it's supposed to go. How about and this may be for Zach as well, is there any gaming going on at Launch House, or is it all business and partying?
I wouldn't say that. It's definitely, we have a happy hour. I don't think anyone brought any systems here. Unless you did, Alex. Did you bring like
there's a Switch in the basement, so I knew some people were playing Smash Bros. The first day, but I'm sure there'll be like waves of leisure and time to play the games, but it's been head to the grindstone right now.
Yeah, I'm sure. With and Zach has told me a lot of things. Y'all did a pitch presentation on one of the first nights that he was there. It sounds like it's quite a lot of business, but I know, you guys probably need a little bit of downtime or leisure time as well. And sometimes it's good, like team building almost to do, to play games or anything like that. Did you guys enjoy Zach's presentation the other day?
Yeah, it's really exciting watching what you guys are doing. Just to hear your guys' roadmap is crazy to
it's
see
so ambitious.
what size your team is and how much you're trying to get done by like Q2 next year.
Yeah, it's a lot. And so Steven, I would say that the Launch House, and I think Alex and Luke can kind of agree with this analogy, that Launch House is like a mullet. It's business up front and party in the back.
Party in the back. I got you.
Tell them
No,
about your mullet, Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just recently cut my mullet. I had a mullet for over a year and a half.
What?
Oh, it was dirty. It was
I'm
dirty.
upset that doesn't exist anymore.
There needs to be at all times at least one mullet in the launch house. So yeah, you
It might have
may
been
be
why I
under
was
the
accepted,
quota.
honestly.
That's too bad. Well, tell me about for marketing. What do you plan? I mean, you guys have a really cool, product here, and it doesn't really matter if you have the coolest product in the world if nobody knows about it. So, tell me your marketing. I think I understand the marketing because you're going to, partner with other NFT projects. But is there other things that you have planned?
Yeah, so I would say marketing is our weakest spot right now, and that's something we really need help from our community. We need people who really believe in what we're doing to help spread the word, and that's what we're looking for and building up really soon. We're bringing on help. That's been honestly the awesome part about being a launch house. Just making the connections with people who can help us with that and like really believe in what we're doing, and we're definitely making moves on that. That's been super exciting and helpful. But yeah, we're trying to go for a really community oriented or like driven marketing approach where we find people who believe in what we're doing. They see the utility, they see the product that we're building, and we're hoping that they'll be the disciples and help us make this happen because we can all make it if we do.
No doubt. And, I think you've got the right approach because you want it to be community based. And really, that's the most effective form of marketing. You can spend quite a bit to try to, manufacture it, but it doesn't always work. And sometimes you get scammed. Sometimes it just doesn't bring in what you're hoping it would for the return of what you spent. Community oriented, however, can work well, especially given the scope of your project, given that, you are reaching out, or maybe even they're reaching out to you, the other NFT projects. And if just a fraction of those stick around, then you'll do pretty well. How about so far with the 4 groups that and you can go over those 4 collaborations that you already have with NFT projects. Are those communities starting to become a little bit of your own community?
Yeah. Do you want to speak to that, Alex, about all the launches and like partnerships we have in line? Alex is
so we launched with Pixel Beast about 2 weeks ago, and we have about 5 more collections that are ready to go. We're talking about launching the first week of Lazy Lions next week, Chibi Dinos next week, and really just trying to keep this pipeline flowing. You mentioned 52 projects over the next year. I think we'd probably consider that a failure if we only had 52 projects over the next year. So we have Pixel Beast in our Discord server. The Pixel Beasts that were there were the ones that connected us with Chibi Dinos, and we're really just trying to like bring the people that want to get involved and want support around the game and want to get cross community to join into our server as well. And we're beginning to see the roots of that.
Yeah. So our strategy with this integration too is if we integrate you, we do ask that you like help us like shout out and things like that. So even these blue chip NFT integrations that we're doing, we're getting that soon. So these are all coming very soon. So having that support of these blue chip NFT collections definitely helps us. And that's coming up.
But it sounds like, right now you've got a lot of blue chip NFT collections, but it sounds like at some point you may move past, just blue chips, and you may go to, maybe not ones that are so well known and maybe some other smaller ones, or is that not the case? Do you want to kind of keep it all the bluest of blue chips NFT projects?
Oh no, we definitely will move to smaller, but we're being strategic with who we choose now for the marketing side. So we want to get the support of these larger ones first because they have the largest communities, they have the largest followings, and they'll be able to move us in the direction that we want to quickest. But obviously long-term plan is to also integrate these smaller communities who are very active and have strong communities. So that's kind of what we're looking at when we're integrating these communities at first. Like, do they have a strong community? Are they active? Do they have reach?
Okay, so that's like your criteria.
This is what we were talking to, like with our art pipeline as well. It's like we want to enable like the smallest communities possible to be able to prepare their art for us and jump on board, and they can begin to offer this right at the time of their launch and really enable other communities to launch and get their reach out there.
Is it difficult to have, from a technical standpoint, to have so many different projects within your world because of size differences or something like, Pixel Beast is obviously, almost like 8-bit art sort of a thing. And I guess all of them are, pixel on some, they're, not exactly like high res or anything like that. But is bringing them all into the world, is that difficult or is it pretty easy? Does it scale pretty well?
No, it doesn't matter. Like, for example, we're even about to integrate a 3D collection, and we're just having our artists interpret how that 3D collection would look like in a 2D setting. Okay. It can be pretty robust with that.
Okay, so you've got an artist to be able to kind of convert of what the 3D NFT would look like in a 2D world.
Our art team is really solid. They've been putting out like really, really good work lately.
So speaking of your art team, how big is your team? I've got the two of you here, but how many total are under the Pixels roof right now?
Yeah, right now we have 5 going really hard. We're also working with a lot of contractors. It's me and Alex. Alex is COO. I'm a CEO, CTO. We have a head of growth who's helping us with like long-term strategy of the game. She has experience in the game, and just making sure that we're like prepping and planning, like making sure we can grow as much as we can. We have a narrative designer that we just brought on. He's helping us build out all the lore, all the world building. And then, we have a bunch of artists that we've been working with. One we love. His name's Ivan. He's developing most of the art for our game. He's doing some of the NFTs. He's been really crushing it.
What was the name of what was the title of the person that's creating all the lore and the story behind it? What was the title?
Yeah. He's our narrative designer.
Narrative designer. I am unfamiliar with that term.
Web3 creating new jobs. They're DeFi.
Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah, I love it that somebody can say like, hey, I can create a world, I can create lore, I can create all this. And there's definitely work out there for them because there's people like yourselves that need that. That's
definitely very on with the RuneScape comparison. There's definitely lore, and in an MMO there's always a storyline and stuff like that. And one of the things that I was going to say earlier is that when I first was introduced to your project, played the demo, which is available on your guys' website to go check out the mechanics a little bit. It's I love it because now new NFT projects can be like, this is instant utility for my community. They can come wear these let's call them game skins in this MMO and use them day one. And I think that's just really cool. It's a good way for them to advertise amongst other users that'll be in the game. It's just a win-win for everybody involved.
It really is. It's almost like I said earlier, almost advertising network, is because to me, you guys going by with blue chip NFTs right now gives you legitimacy. But as it goes on, if I'm an NFT project, I want to be in here. I don't want to be left out because it makes me feel like I'm not a part of the larger NFT community if I'm not in here. The other thing I wanted to ask is, and I think you said this the other day, I think you said the Pixel Beasts group brought you another group. Is that happening a lot where you're starting to get referrals from one group that you bring in to another NFT project?
Yeah. And that's good for us. Now we have to make the decision of okay, who do we have the capacity to bring in? But yeah, now it's already flipped from us asking collections, hey, do you want this, or just doing this and then being like, hey, look what we did for you guys, to getting inbound interest. So that's what we're kind of trying to switch to now. We want to be working with collections that want to work with us and see the value and see the vision.
So now, just to make sure I understood you correctly, they're more pursuing you as to where you had to pursue them first?
Yeah, correct.
That's the best way, man. Yeah, that's the way you want it to be. And it shows that you're doing a good job, because to me, when you do a good onboarding and there's a good experience from an NFT project, they know other people. You all know how teams kind of work, where somebody will say, oh, I'm actually, advising on this other project. They would probably do well to be in here as well. And I really think that will be, I think, and maybe I'm wrong here, that you guys will have so much people knocking at your door to be able to be in this MMO, to be in this world, that you're probably going to have some pretty stringent criteria. And maybe could that ever be a use of the DAO where the community decides what projects get in and out?
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting idea. And that's definitely something we'll consider. At the end of the day, yeah, we want decision to be in the players' hands, not ours. That's the ideal scenario, and that's what this is all about, this Web3 technology. So if players do decide that, I guess it's out of our hands, even if it doesn't quite align with my vision.
Sure.
We'll let it be up to them.
Sure. Have you had to turn anybody down yet?
Not yet, but we just haven't prioritized others too. It's actually getting quite big, our backlog.
Right. And that's kind of what I was thinking is, right now you may be in a mode where you're like, okay, if it's a good project, of course we'll take them. But as your backlog gets bigger and bigger, you may have to get more choosy. And there may just be some that maybe aren't to the quality that you want, don't have the community. You already told me kind of the criteria you look after of community and different things like that. You may find one that's maybe not something that you want to be part of things yet. And, if that's the case, then you've got to make some tough decisions. And that's where I was getting into the DAO, where if nothing else, it would be on the community to decide rather than you guys. So you said your team is pretty small right now, 5 plus some contractors. We talked about a year from now, all these things you want to accomplish. What size do you want your team to grow to eventually?
Yeah, so we're actually going to be growing pretty soon. We're working with some really interesting people in the space, and we have their support. And that's what's in progress right now. So our team's going to be expanding within the next month or so. We're bringing on more engineering talent. We're bringing on more artists, and we're bringing on people to help with marketing and making sure all of that goes to plan. So that's happening very, very soon. And speed will pick up even more after that.
Yeah, it'll probably be a snowball effect to where as you get more people on, it will really be going quite a bit. What's the largest community that you have, or actually maybe I should rephrase this. The community, the NFT communities like the Pixel Beast, Lazy Lions, CryptoPunks, which one has been the most embracing of the game that you see most chatter from in your Discord server?
Yeah, Pixel Beast love it because they were first, and they feel very special for that. We're really excited about Lazy Lions. Like our Lazy Lions art, I don't want to brag, but I think it looks so good. The people that enter as a Lazy Lion, which you can do right now, it's really, really special.
Yeah, I can see on your website as I scroll down and it shows all that you have there. I like the Lazy Lion. It's the little pixel art. It's a good look. Well, also the other thing with feedback, because I was going to ask, how's your community accepting the feedback? But you have that demo that you can play on right now. How has that been received? Have you gotten feedback? Has there been any tough feedback where they're like, I don't like this. Could you fix this? And if so, did you?
Yeah, so we already used this platform in the event space. So it's been tested quite well. This isn't new tech that we developed in the last 3 weeks. This is relatively mature tech now. So there are some little tiny bugs here and there. But we've ironed out a lot of the UI UX experiences over the last year and a half because we've been building this for so long. There were funny things that the community pointed out that since this wasn't a gaming product before, for example, we were using arrow keys to navigate. And now gamers are using this product and they're like, why would we ever use the arrow keys? It's WASD all day, baby. So we switched that recently and some funny things like that. But yeah, right now we're currently being used for meetups every week by Pixel Beast. They use it for their community gatherings, and that's kind of our first initial use case that we're targeting as well. We're trying to get Lazy Lions and other collections like that to start throwing events on the platform in the meantime while we transition to the game. But yeah, Pixel Beasts have been in it every single Wednesday for the last month and a half. And
I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think about the meetup aspect of it, where you could have a Lazy Lions, or in this case, a Pixel Beast meetup, and they could all meet up within there, right? And so that'll be a better experience for them than just group chat.
Yeah, and we also have video optional in this tech called spatial video chat. So basically, if you want to turn on your camera, you don't have to, but you can turn on your camera, and if you actually walk around in our space or the universe, you can start talking to people and video chatting with people, which is a really cool feature. And you can only video chat with people close to you. You have to actually walk up to them in the game to start a video chat with them. And if you walk too far away, it starts video chats with other people. It's pretty fun.
That's really good. So you have to be in close proximity to them in the game. And if you're in close proximity to them, their camera will pop up.
Yep.
I love that. I love that a lot. And I'll tell you what it reminds me of is I've got an Oculus headset and I've listened to some seminars through there, and you're basically sitting in a auditorium and you can hear chatter going on near you, and it's people talking. So it's not video, it's just audio in that case. Now you can see them, their 3D avatar, but yeah, you can kind of hear the people, but only the people that are very near you in that, virtual auditorium. I've never thought about taking it that next step up where, ultimately you can see somebody. So if I'm in a room and I see, your Pixel Beast 7650 and you're across the room, I can then kind of, across the field, I should say, in the farmland, I can now walk over to you. And by the time I get to you in a close proximity, your camera will pop up and I'll see you, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. That's a great idea. And your screenshots look really good too. It kind of reminds me of an early, first of all, I'm an old gamer, and it reminds me of like some early Final Fantasy type of games, because it's got that it's from that era, from the Pixel era, and it looks good. It looks good. Has the feedback been pretty good from just kind of the feel of it, or are people wanting more?
Yeah, definitely. We've definitely been stepping up the art even more lately, which is good. We've been trying to find our own aesthetic, and our artist is, I think, nailing it now. The new art that he's been releasing, getting us out, huge upgrade from what we had before. And yeah, overall pretty happy with the aesthetic, and it's a pretty scalable one too. There's a lot of like really interesting things you can do with this pixel art style. Some people think it's like old or dated looking, but there's been awesome games coming out that are only pixel art related lately, like Octopath on the Switch and DS. Like that's a really interesting like mix of 3D art and pixel art. There's definitely like a long-term thing here, and I think we're honing in on our style finally, which is nice.
Yeah. No, you definitely are. So let's say somebody listened to what we're saying here. They've looked at your website. They really like what they see, but they want to keep up more, and they want to, what's the best way for them to kind of keep up with the latest and greatest in your project?
Yeah, so we're starting today, basically. Join our Discord, follow our Twitter, and we're going to be very active in keeping updates with people, being really clear about what we're up to. We're going to be much more transparent on what our updates were. We were heads down the last month while I've been building this out, getting the vision together, and now the community building starts. So stay tuned on those channels and follow us there.
Have you had any type of promotional, this is a little bit of another marketing question, but as I was thinking about, if I'm in your world and let's say, I've got my own avatar, whether it be one that comes from you, or I've actually got a lazy lion or something. And then I see some other, cool projects that are within the game, and either I buy them, but has there ever been a thought of promotions where, you could win another partner project by, completing some mission or, doing something within the world? Is that a possibility, or has that had been floated by you with other projects that said, hey, maybe we could give away an NFT in there?
Yeah. PixelBeast is really interested in that. They're asking us to build a feature that lets people like drop an NFT in the game. First one to find it in the world gets it.
Yes.
And other interesting features like that.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. And I didn't know, if you could bury it somewhere and somebody could, dig and then find it, or how the game would work. But yeah, if it could be in the world somehow and somebody could find it, what a cool find that would be, to be able to find an NFT project that, one that maybe you've wanted for some time or wanted for a long time. And that would be really, really great. So I know Zach did his pitch the other day, and I've heard from him, and I heard how the TRADERVERSE pitch went, and you guys have even given a little bit of feedback on that here today. How was the feedback for your pitch?
Yeah, it's going well. We're working with a lot of like good investors. We're probably bringing on a round of venture capital very soon, and they're like helping us nail this and iron this down. But I think over the last couple of weeks, we've been really clarifying what it looks like, and now that's why we're ready to communicate it to our community, because I think we have that pretty sorted now.
Yeah. So on the, you're saying you're looking for some venture capital. Has the reception been from investors been pretty good, that they want to invest in it and put money into this?
Oh yeah, it's actually been like a little overwhelming. We're in the very fortunate like position where we have a choice of who we invest or take capital from now. And yeah, obviously the space is very hot. But yeah, we're in a very good position with that, where we can basically choose the people who can help us. It's not about money now. It's more about getting the right people to work with us. And we're getting some very, very like good value added investors. It's super exciting on that end. I don't know how much I can say right now, but the people behind us are going to be a huge help to us. And that's even more exciting.
Well, that's what I think that's great. Whenever you've got somebody that's investing in, their money, that's great. Their capital, that's great. But what they bring to the table as far as, networking possibilities or just expertise and, be able to introduce you to other important, movers and shakers in the space. Sometimes that can be more valuable than the capital that they bring. And for you, it sounds like that you're getting enough of an interest that you can now choose those that will help you in ways other than just monetarily, which has got to be pretty good.
Yeah, the people that we're working with right now, they're leaders in the play to earn space. They've invested in companies. They're very behind the companies that you guys have all heard of. And yeah, we couldn't be more excited to potentially be working with them.
Awesome. Well, I think you've got so much of a possibilities within your project. Like I said, I could see it being advertising, but even better from what you're telling me, almost free advertising for those that get into your project, because you've said that's not your philosophy, is to take money to get into the project. So to me, I think projects will be falling all over themselves to be a part of what you're doing. And for that, it sounds like that's what you're experiencing so far. You have a lot of interest in what you're doing. So, congratulations on what you've done so far. You and Alex, it sounds like you've got a really good, solid project on your hands. And maybe, I think your timing is really good too. Do you feel like, because I always say like 2022 may be the year of the play to earn game. Do you feel like you guys are situated well from a time perspective?
Oh, absolutely. The play to earn games out there right now, so much respect for them. They're doing really awesome things. I think the tech is ready to bring on another generation of play to earn games that do things a bit differently, that have a bit different approach and learn from what these other play to earn games have done. That's why it's so hot in investing right now. There's so much investment going into play to earn specifically, because I think people see that.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, 2022, I think, will definitely be the year of a play to earn explosion. In 2021, we saw NFTs become so popular. 2022, I really think that people will look into some utilities. And your project is kind of a hybrid, a marriage between those two of just NFT projects and utility, and you've got both of them. So for that, congratulations. Well, it's going to be you guys' first weekend together there at Launch House. Zach, y'all got big plans tonight?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe streaking in the quad, or
yes.
I don't know. We'll figure it out. It's that's the fun thing about Launch House. We're a bunch of pretty smart people.
Yeah. Streaking in the quad sounds great.
Yeah, I think so. Alex,
I know Zach's a big U of M fan, so
you
championship tomorrow.
Don't you put that evil on me.
He's always talking Wolverines this, Wolverines that, and it gets old,
Zach.
really.
All right, this is over. This is over. We're not posting this.
Every time it's blue and what is it? Blue and maize. I can't remember what the actual color.
You know what those colors make? Green. So I'm just saying.
That's good. Well, it's going to be fun. Maybe y'all can. Are you guys all now? I know one of you, either Alex or Luke, are from that area as well. I guess y'all both are from that area. Is that correct?
Yeah, we both went to the University of Michigan.
Okay, yeah. Then you and Zach can jostle pretty good. Who won between those two this year, anyway?
Michigan State won that game.
Depends who has a shot to win the national championship. I think that's who wins.
I mean, Georgia will win that game, so it's all good. And even if you did win the national championship, you'd be like, it was almost a perfect season.
But it wasn't. And why wasn't it? Because the spark.
Yes, that's right. Top coming, baby.
That's right. All right, guys. Well, I've really appreciated you guys coming in here. I've really enjoyed learning about Pixels. I'm going to definitely you do in your entire project, and I hope that I learn more with Zach, as he obviously will be keeping up with you guys as well.
Maybe not after this, but
y'all can get over.
Yeah, I'm about to go to the 5th floor and crack some skulls.
Right. popping his knuckles right now as we speak.
You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. Goaler's Day.
That's right. That's right. All right, guys. Well, it has been great having you guys on here. I've really enjoyed hearing about your project, really enjoyed hearing about kind of what makes you, you. And yeah, don't be a stranger around. Make sure you keep up with us, and we'll be certain to keep up with you as well.
Great. Thanks so much for having us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a great time. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Alec. Thanks, Luke. Until next time, we will be on Twitter Spaces this Monday at, well, it's 12:30
Eastern.
Yep.
For Moon Monday.
Yay, Moon Monday.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah. So, were you about to say, I thought you said one more thing. Sorry about that, Rick.
Yeah, I said
Huzzah.
huzzah.
Yes. Moon Monday. All right, guys. We will see y'all then. Until I said y'all there. That sounded really Texan. It didn't sound very Michigan there, but that's all right. I will see you then. And until then, I love you all. Later.
Love you.